let's talk about E3 because, God. Angry face.
Angry face.
Angry face react / tear / smile.
Angry pouty face.
The first thing that I'm most excited about is Metroid Dread. And they went back to the 2D side-scroller, and
Nice.
Dread looks awesome. It's an existential threat that Samus has to run from, and it's an enemy that you can't kill. It's like a horror genre Metroid game, and I'm
So it's like
so
Death
happy.
is chasing.
Basically, sure. But you had, like, the whole point of it is you're going through like these labyrinthian type tunnels and similar map styles to, like, you know, your old games, specifically Super Metroid, things like that. Metroid Zero Mission, which was just a reboot of Metroid 2. Let's be honest.
Right.
But going through all of our Return of Samus, but going through all of those different things, but it's basically the same Metroid style that we all grew up on, and I'm hoping that there looked like there was a map. So I'm hoping that stays, and they don't just be like, well, hey,
well, here you
know
go.
it was really hard? Metroid 1. We should do that. But it looks really cool, really great. I wanted to start off E3
You're talking about something positive?
with a positive thing, because it's really all downhill for me. Just,
I'm a sad panda.
and E3 has been steadily and progressively getting worse and worse each year, and it's not.
I mean, is it bad that the good stuff doesn't count? Like, we don't find good stuff at shows like this.
No, we
We
don't.
find the good stuff on Steam sales or
Or, yeah,
early releases,
early access.
accesses.
And that's the
you
thing
know.
with the advent of the streaming service. Let's be honest, because it's really what it is. And these companies like EA, Activision, even Nintendo, Microsoft, they all have their own individual shows. They all do their own showcases. Why are they going to pay a random convention and a random convention center tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars for giant booth space when they can literally have an entire show that's just focused on them?
Right.
Like, and that's where E3 is.
Well, I mean, you got BlizzCon. Blizzard literally set that
Yeah,
bar.
they do their
and
own
said,
stuff.
like,
EA has the EA show.
Yeah.
Microsoft does. I'm pretty sure it's like the Microsoft Showcase or something like that. But and I'm sure some nerd out there is like, that's not what it's called, which is fine. I don't know all the names of it because
there's too many of them
there's
to remember.
For me,
honestly.
that's just information I don't want to keep. I can Google that if I really absolutely have to. It's not something I'll use in my everyday parlance. But yeah. So with all of those things, E3 has just become diminished, and,
Right.
and it sucks because I remember getting my Game Informer or Electronic Gaming Monthly, for those of you who might remember that publication, even my Nintendo Power, right? And it would have the E3 show, you know, and it would talk about, not necessarily Nintendo Power, but it would talk about like all the cool new games that were coming out, and that was really the only way that you could see those things.
Mm-hmm.
But now, like you said, Steam sales and early access and developer releases online, and just I've seen, I mean, hell, the Fallout 76 trailer, or not Fallout 76 trailer, Fallout London, right? Which they showcased at E3 because it's a really cool mod. I thought it was really neat of them to do that, but it's on YouTube. It literally came out on YouTube first. I saw it on YouTube before I ever heard about it coming from E3. And that's, like, I mean, that's where we get the majority of our news, which may not be the best place to get it, but companies need to adapt. And E3, they thankfully maybe didn't do an in-person show this year, so it was all online streaming.
Right.
Right, and they did it all virtually. So I'm sure they saved a lot of money, and I think that actually kind of lured some companies back into the fold because
they don't have to have a physical presence.
Right,
anymore.
and so, you know, the monetary
they get
cost.
their digital assets
Right.
together and just send them over.
Right, and that's exactly right. And so Microsoft and even Activision, EA, and things like that, who they were actually absent. Microsoft wasn't. They actually did release some stuff. They threw little teasers out there, and then Sony, I don't think Sony was there either, to be quite honest. I'm pretty sure, but yeah, Metroid Dread, Tiny Tina's Wonderland, which is going to be a spin-off first-person shooter that's going to be set in the same vein as Borderlands, cel-shaded graphics, the whole nine. And that's supposed to be a loot shooter without the sci-fi element. It'll be a fantasy element for those of you. Pardon me, guys. Sorry. It'll be a fantasy element, much in the same way Assault on Dragon Keep was for the DLC for Borderlands 2, which was by far the best DLC they've ever released for Borderlands. Period. The end. There is no argument. Don't at me. Don't jump into the comments and argue with me. No, seriously, do it. Do it. I want to have the argument. But yeah, that's cool. Square released a couple of things that were disappointing, to say the least. There's a Final Fantasy spinoff coming. There's no Final Fantasy 16 announcement. There was no Metroid Prime 4 announcement. So just like the new Zelda didn't really have any gameplay available. It was just kind of a 100-second demo or something, and it looks good. I mean, it's intriguing. It definitely is interesting, but really no information.
It's like a pre-alpha test.
There's no information. Like, what is it?
Right.
Tell me what it is. Don't just like Legend of Zelda 2022. Like, what? That's not information. That's not information. You didn't say fall, spring, summer, nothing. You just said 2022. That could be December 31st, 2022. That'd be heartbreaking. Don't do that. But there were some loadout issues. There were some technical glitches. Several of the games, when they were for display for like their technical aspect, technical demos and stuff, didn't work. And that does not bode well.
Right? No, that's like, oh, hey, look, check out all this cool stuff we can't do.
Right.
Here's pictures. We can show you drawings of how everything's supposed to
check out our concept art. Like, I get it. Like, all these major developers and stuff are trying to. And I'm trying to rush through this E3 news, guys, because there's a lot of it, and most of it's bad. So I don't want to keep you guys on the bad notes. You know, there were some good things. They showed Elden Ring.
Right.
But hey,
which we showed Elden Ring 2 weeks ago.
Spoiler alert, we showed Elden Ring before they did. Literally. Guys, I want you to be aware of that. Geek Public Radio did a react video to the trailer of Elden Ring.
Before E3.
Before E3. And that's why E3's a dumpster fire. There it is. We are I wouldn't say low budget, but we're pretty low on the informative scale. We get information. We get early access stuff, and we check it out. We try to review it the best we can. We
show you what we can.
Yeah. And we got Elden Ring before E3, guys. So the moral of this story is you should come to geekpublicradio.com. Consider becoming a member so you get all the news. You don't need to pay for an E3 experience when you can just come to geekpublicradio.com. $5. $5. Not $150. $5. Get you early access to all the cool videos that we feature. I don't understand why you're not doing that. Just financially speaking, this is a win-win for you. Great news, great content, hilarious shows, old school movies, and E3 content before E3 shows it. Just saying.
Yahoo.
We did it. We have arrived. Which consequently is how I believe that people from England say that they're going somewhere. I'm trying to be PG. Gross. Anyways, speaking of London.
Oh, I have arrived.
The Fallout 76 London trailer dropped, and that was super exciting. So we're doing sandwich, right? So we did good, bad, good. And there's some more bad coming, I promise. There's more bad. But Fallout 76 trailer dropped. You guys are going to get a chance to watch that. Make sure you don't go anywhere. Okay. Seriously, it's going to be great.
Well, let's just do that now. Let's get into it.
You want to do it now? Or No. They get a cliffhanger.
Oh, they get a cliffhanger?
They have to wait. You guys have to wait. So you have to make it through the show. Although this is on YouTube, so you'll probably just skip to the end to watch the trailer. But that's not funny. You know what? We're not going to do it at the very end. Good luck bouncing around the video to figure out where it's at.
Just like, surprise!
Surprise! Fallout 76! Or Fallout London! Nah!
Well, you said something about Fallout 76, too.
I did. So Fallout 76, this wasn't released at E3. This was something that Bethesda was working on. Steel Rain I believe is what it's called, or Reign of Justice or something like that. But anyways, it's the should be the final DLC for Fallout 76, in which the Brotherhood of Steel came back, which was Dawn of Steel, and I think this one's called Reign of Justice or Reign of Steel or something like that. But you basically the way that's written, the way it looks, is that you get to decide the fate of the Brotherhood in the hills of Virginia, or hills of West Virginia. So figure out what to do with them. That's supposed to be a cool narrative journey. I'll have to do something on that because
Murder them all, sacrifice them to
Cthulhu. No, the old one, the ancient one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. Which lots of references to H.P. Lovecraft. If you've never played a Fallout game, there's lots and lots of references to H.P. Lovecraft. But
Or just
yeah,
have him go deal with the Flatwoods monster.
See, I liked the taming element from Fallout 4, where you could like take wasteland creatures and
Right.
bring them into your camp and like use them as pets and defense, and it was really
Now,
cool.
if you could do that with like Mothman, the Flatwoods monster,
That's what I'm talking about.
the
Slap a slave collar on one of them.
what was the big gray one?
The Grafton monster.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that would be really cool. You bring them into the fold.
and just have them as pets and be like,
Right.
hi.
But like,
This
this
is-
is my pet Grafton monster. I call him Grafton. But yeah,
this,
so
this is Graph.
Fallout London trailer was really cool. But like I said, lots of no-shows, lots of disappointing news, just generally super underwhelming, overpriced showcase. It really just kind of was, and that makes me sad because E3 used to be this whole like just amazing.
No, it was like the
Spectacle
it was
was
the
great.
place that you went to
Yeah.
check out the new
It
stuff.
was the Comic-Con of the video game world.
Right. It was like, like you have Comic-Con
Yeah.
for pop culture, you have Gen Con for gaming stuff, and you had E3 for electronic games.
Yeah, which is great, which is why it's called E3 Electronic Entertainment Expo. But
Yeah.
yeah, they're apparently repixelating the Final Fantasies. So Final Fantasies 1 through 6, they're going to make them pixel perfect.
But that just means you got to buy them again for the new console.
Right. I don't care. Final Fantasy 6 was the greatest Final Fantasy that's ever been created. You're not going to tell me otherwise. Kefka's the best villain. Sephiroth is a soy boy. I don't care what you say. He's a whiny, mama's boy, soy drinking, latte having Karen. And I don't look at his haircut. Sephiroth is the original Karen.
Yeah, it is a Karen haircut.
Sorry, I hate to break it to you Final Fantasy 7 fan girls and boys out there, but Sephiroth was a loser.